Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Bobby Hams here with a quick review of the Addams Family animated movie and Zombieland 2 Double Tap. So first, the Addams Family movie is very on brand. I found myself laughing quite early in the movie, and the voice actors did a very good job of portraying the original characters of Gomez and Morticia and Pugsley and Wednesday and Lurch, who's like a piano player in the whole thing. And it's very kid friendly, I'll give it that, but it's also very funny. It isn't funny to the level of like one of the older Pixar movies, like the original Toy Story was. It doesn't have that sort of layered kid humor and adult humor, but it's a kind of comedy that everyone can appreciate. You know, like the visual gags reminded me very much of like Three Stooges episodes from, you know, whenever those were made. And then the actual punchlines to many of the jokes worked very well also, which was actually kind of surprising. I thought this movie would be more like one of these lame animated movies that have been made recently where it's all about like the Emoji Movie or something like that, where it's just gonna be product placement, weak jokes. But the Addams Family movie is nothing like that. It's actually very enjoyable. And the plot of the movie is basically about the Addams family getting chased out of their old home, where I don't remember where it was, but they got chased out of their old home by some villagers or townsfolk, you know, really like Dr. Frankenstein style. And they had to move up to to one of the worst places to be, you know, New Jersey. So that was pretty funny. But then it's them trying to keep to themselves and not bother anyone else because they didn't want to get chased out of town again. However, they end up getting into sort of a beef with the local real estate agent in the area, and she's all about, you know, making everyone happy and keeping everything the same and assimilating. I think that's actually the name of her company, something like Assimilation or something like that. And the whole way that the Addams are just, they're kooky and they're spooky, but they're all together, you know, ooky. Their personalities obviously clash with her personality and her goals of trying to make everything the same, because the Addams family are totally different and they have no problems with being different. And I think that's kind of a real good message that the movie was sending out. It's kind of good, you know, be yourself, don't worry about what other people think about you, just kind of be yourself and be comfortable in your own skin, and you know, things will work out however they work out. Like I said, I enjoyed the movie. It's something that I would recommend families watch together, or you could just watch it on your own. It's a pretty fun movie to watch. A lot of the jokes I'm sure will become very dated, you know, in a couple years because of some of the pop culture references they make in it, but you know, that's just a consequence of Hollywood these days. They don't really make jokes that are like timeless. Everything kind of has to be in the moment, very zeitgeist kind of jokes, so that, oh, I get that reference, it's to this, you know, thing. But you know, besides that, it's a very good movie. I'd watch it again for sure. And I was laughing consistently throughout the most of it, you know, without trying to force myself to laugh, you know what I mean? It was just like a lot of the humor, especially the visual gags, like just really got me. I don't know if I was having like a not too serious of a day or what, but I enjoyed the movie quite a bit. It was quite a fun movie, which is something I don't like to say because fun movie sounds like there was no substance to it, but there was a bit of substance to this Addams Family cartoon. Like I said, with the message about, you know, being yourself was very poignant, and it didn't feel like it was dumbed down, I should say. It didn't feel like it was dumbed down at all. The action beats and the plot all mixed together very well with the characters. They all had a role to play, you know, and they all still kept to their original roots of how they were on the old TV show and the other old cartoons and the old movies, you know. So they're all very, very morbid characters, but it's in a funny way, and it's not too disturbing to see them try to basically murder each other. I'd give it 2 snaps out of whatever. Really good movie, go check it out.
Is that really as tight as you can make it? Well...
Hello.
Wednesday, what do you have there?
I'm not sure.
Strange. There's usually a murderous clown attached to the other end of these.
The other movie I saw was Zombieland 2, Double Tap, Pow Pow. And this one obviously is rated R. It's not really for kids. However, the humor in it I found was kind kind of hit or miss. I don't know what it was about, maybe the delivery. That's always a very important factor in telling jokes. But some of the humor, I think, lasted. Like, there's one scene further later on in the movie where Jesse Eisenberg and the guy from, you know, what's that called, the HBO show, are like comparing rules because they're kind of doppelgangers. And you can see that in the trailer, where Jesse Eisenberg is like writing off his rules and there's other guys writing off his commandments, and they're kind of saying the same thing but in a different way. And the scene was like, okay, this is cool at first, but then it went on for just too long. And it was kind of stuff like that throughout the rest of the movie, where some of the gags and some of the jokes went on just a little bit too long. Not as bad as like some of the SNL sketches that go on, you know, for infinity, but some of the stuff went on a little bit too long. It was still funny, but then it started to get kind of stale because it just was like, okay, I get the point, move on to the next thing. But overall, the movie is pretty enjoyable. I liked how it was kind of self-referential. Again, like with Addams Family, it made a couple of very time-sensitive jokes and references that will definitely age poorly, you know, in 10 years or so. But who knows, maybe they might come back with a part 3 in 10 years, do the 10-year challenge again. I don't know, that'd be kind of weird. Maybe not weird, but just unexpected. I'll say it'll be unexpected. And so the movie follows, you know, Tallahassee, played by Woody Harrelson, and Jesse Eisenberg's Ohio, and Emma Stone's, was she Little Rock? No, she wasn't Little Rock, she was Wichita. And then the other girl whose name I don't remember playing Little Rock. And it follows them, you know, 10 years after, not 10 years, I forget how long it's been, but I know the movie came out about 10 years ago, but in movie time, I forget how much, maybe it was a couple months or something after the first movie. But anyway, it follows them, you know, getting to live, basically looking for a home, and they initially settle in at the White House, and everything seems hunky-dory, you know, whatever. But then Little Rock, she's like, oh, I want a man of my own, which is kind of bad writing, I think, for her part, but that's not the actor's fault. So she's like, I want a man, I want to know what it's like to be in a relationship. And so she splits with Emma Stone's character, and Woody Harrelson and Jesse Eisenberg are left to their own. They hit the road again. So then they don't get too far. They meet another girl, you know, in the mall, kind of like Dawn of the Dead style in the mall. And she's this blonde, airhead stereotype, really. She's real funny though. Her lines are, they're kind of dumb, but they're really funny. The actor does a really good job of delivering her lines with the comedy. And Jesse Eisenberg is Jesse Eisenberg, and of course, you know, he's got the quirky thing with the way he talks, and you know, so eventually, Little Rock goes out on her own, and Emma Stone comes back and joins the group. But there's a little bit of conflict between her and the blonde girl, whose name Dayton, I don't remember what her name was. But anyway, there's a bit of conflict there between her and Eisenberg and Emma Stone, and that kind of plays with its own thing as they search for Little Rock, who picked up a hitchhiker, and there's a whole other thing going on there. The movie seems a little bit more complicated than it needs to be, but it kind of works with the plot they were going for about people finding homes and, you know, becoming a family and surviving the zombie apocalypse in a different kind of way than what other movies have portrayed them as. So it worked for what it was, and I enjoyed it, you know, the whole way through. Like I said, other than the comedy beats that went on just a little bit too long, the movie was very enjoyable. I had a lot of fun watching it, and I definitely watch it again. I wouldn't go through the theaters to watch it again because it wasn't that, you know, that monumental, but it was fun enough to that I would recommend people go watch it for sure. And some of the stuff, I mean, the gory deaths of the zombies were pretty interesting too. It wasn't as like creative as some of the things I've seen on The Walking Dead when it was interesting, but the movie kind of makes its own self-referential thing where you get these zombie kills of the year, and I don't know who these entries are, but Jesse Eisenberg has these like contestants that, like, I don't know, they send them video to them, or I don't know how that whole thing worked, but it was a pretty cool way to show how other people were dealing with their own zombie problems around the world. So I kind of like that part of it. Other than that, the movie's kind of by the book as far as zombie apocalypse movies are concerned. You've got a group of people, they're together. For some reason, they break apart. You know, zombies attack, they got to get back together. They fight off the zombies, and happy ending. And so it kind of follows that route. They do reference Bill Murray from the first movie, which I thought was I don't know why I thought that was extra funny, but it worked for me. And honestly, I don't remember how the first movie even ended. It's been so long since I watched it, and I didn't bother watching it before this sequel, because I mean, that's considered like homework to me. You know, if the movie comes out as a sequel, then it should stand by itself as a sequel, unless it's, you know, one after another, a year apart. But if it's, you know, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna go back and watch the first one just to understand what's going on in the second one. Like when Blade Runner 2049 came out, I didn't bother watching Blade Runner, you know, from 1980, whenever it came out in the 80s. I didn't bother doing that. I just said, you know, it's a brand new movie. It's drawing on some of the elements from the first movie, but see how it stands on its own. That's how I do it. So definitely Zombieland. Oh, there was another thing with the zombies, how they started to classify them, which was pretty cool. I like that part also. The T-800 zombies were basically like the unstoppable zombies, which I was like, that's nice. It's like showing how the zombies themselves can evolve and become more deadly, which is another thing that I saw in Dawn of the Dead, where they were trying to teach the zombies to get better, and you actually saw one zombie learn a gun. It was kind of, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But yeah, overall the movie is pretty good. I'd say it's kind of like the Addams Family, but for R rating. You know, it's enjoyable, and you know, the actors all do a very good job of playing their parts. Emma Stone is very funny in this, and the blonde girl whose name I don't know, she's very funny in this. And then everything else is kind of like Woody Harrelson. He's decent, you know, with the nut up or shut up thing. Okay, that works. Jesse Eisenberg, of course, he's Jesse Eisenberg, and his quirkiness. Some of his lines are pretty good too. So Zombieland 2 is a very decent movie. It's very competently made and enjoyable. Like I said, it has a lot of replayability, and I'd give it a 3.5 or so, maybe 3.2, 3.5 out of 5. It's not gonna break any new ground as far as zombie movies are concerned. It isn't the funniest thing I've seen all year, that's for sure, but it isn't the most dull thing I've seen all year either. The story made sense for the arena that it was in, you know, and the spirit of the first movie, I think, carried over very well to this one. It didn't feel like two very separate, you know, films in the same universe. So that's a very good positive thing about it. So go ahead and check out those two movies, The Addams Family and Zombieland 2, double tap, and let me know what you thought of them down below in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like to like and subscribe to things, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.